excellence in sports entertainment.
Right. I got two left hooves who on test. Well, since nobody's stepping to me, take me to your cult leader. Take me to your local drug dealer. Take me to the man in the mirror when you stand and deliver with your hand on the trigger. An emotional terrorist. I-double-M-U-N-E. Never make my enemy public. I'm a private dancer, dancing for money. Do that thing that's funny. I'll make you wanna laugh. I'll make you wanna move. I'll make you wanna do. Do that thing that's funny. I'll make you wanna laugh. I'll make you wanna.
You welcome to another edition of Spot Monkey Radio live on YouTube's on False Finish Productions. As always, we are here. It is Malik and myself, producer Tony, or just Tony for today, filling in. We're going to have a good time. We got a lot of topics to get to. It's good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you as well.
Look at this.
Got my notes ready.
Like, hello, old friend. We meet again, right? Now we're it's me and you hosting this shit again.
Yep.
But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to talk wrestling with you for the next hour and a half or whatever. And we'll just jump right into it. And we'll start right at the top, which was Saturday night's main event this past Saturday. I enjoyed it. I assume you saw it as well.
I played a giant game of catch up over the weekend. Like, obviously, I told you guys I was going to the Nets Heat game, which of course the Heat won. That's for people who care about basketball. But I caught up with everything kind of backwards. I watched basically from Saturday's main event to Collision, so on and so forth, just going down the line.
Right on, dudes. What did you think of Saturday night's main event? I mean, I watched it live. I thought it was very. I mean, listen, a lot of people. I don't know if you see this. People shit on WWE constantly, and I don't see what they see. Like they shit on it in a way where when you go into it, you're like, is it that bad, really, that they're shitting on it this way? And then I watch and I go, oh, either they're blind or stupid. It's one or the other. I don't know what it is, but it's not that bad.
I think some people just look for things to complain about. Ultimately, like, people will complain about the time constraints. People will complain about how many ads that they put into the show. People will put that it was only, I believe, 4 matches in total.
Yeah, it wasn't many.
But each match got time.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
You don't usually get that.
Yeah, and they got like proper amounts of time because first off, it was like you said, 4 matches, I think maybe 5, give or take. And every match felt like a main event. So
yeah,
it lived up to the name, Saturday night's main event, because I felt like every match was worth like at least a main event on a like a TV show like Raw or SmackDown.
Yes.
They were very good matches, all of them, from top to bottom, and even the segment with Cody and Kevin Owens.
Yes.
And let's just start with that. I have been a major fan of Cody since he switched. I liked him in AEW. I liked him in the Indies. But this babyface run, I think is fantastic. I think you, at least from my perspective, I know you might disagree, but we haven't really seen a babyface like him in quite some time, where it's like classic good guy.
I could agree. I could agree with that statement.
To me, I feel like he nailed that shit, and I feel like he's nailing it right now. I know a lot of people. I don't know. Again, people are skeptical about him. They're saying that they're kind of over it, but it's like, I think he was hot as shit when he came out on Saturday night's main event.
He was. He is. The problem is the only thing that I was just like, the only issue I had was you had him sitting in the crowd for the opening show of the opening Netflix show on Raw Netflix, and it's just like, yo, that was the only thing that I could have done without, because it just made him seem like he was below Roman and he's the face of the company. So it's just,
Yeah, it seems like to me. When I don't want to go backwards to that, but I will agree with you because I felt like it was one of those things where it's like, why is he? First off, they didn't even say like, oh, Cody Rhodes is here. He's in the crowd. All of a sudden, The Rock just said Cody Rhodes, and all of a sudden he's just airing the crowd. And you're like, whoa, where the fuck did you just come from? And I was like, this is an odd little segment. Why are they turning Rock face? But obviously, we'll move that when we get to the Rumble predictions, because obviously he's, always the big rumors are swirling already since we're a week away, but. I think, God, I mean, Shawn Michaels is older than dirt, is he not?
I felt so bad when the hat came off. I was just like,
Oh my God.
Very, very interesting thing about Kevin Owens. He is, since he started his career in WWE, has predominantly been in a lot of championship matches over the years in the Royal Rumble. I actually have it listed here from 2016. He took on Dean Ambrose for the IC title. 2017, he defended the Universal Championship. 2018, it was him and Sami Zayn in a handicap match against AJ Styles, who was the defending WWE champion. In 2021, he took on Roman Reigns, I believe, in a last man standing match. In 2023, he took on Roman Reigns again in a just regular one-on-one match. He took on Logan Paul last year for the U.S. title, and now this year he's fighting in a ladder match for the Undisputed WWE Championship. So Kevin Owens is pretty much what the Undertaker is to WrestleMania. However, what Kevin Owens is to the Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
and what Hogan was to SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. Yeah, yeah. Kevin Owens is like the guy at the Rumble. It's
Yes.
like one of those things like, okay, guaranteed some nostalgia acts in the Rumble, and Kevin Owens will be fighting for a championship
Correct.
at that particular show. And, you know, listen, I'll be the first person to admit, I didn't see it with Kevin Owens when he first came in. Like, I just didn't think. I was like, I don't know about this Kevin Owens. Like, we remember it was Kevin Steen, obviously, from the Indies, and I was just like, I don't know. I mean, he's like, seems like but man, he listen, over his shit, can do babyface heel work. He does everything great. I was skeptical. I'll always be happy to eat my words when a wrestler is, when he like proves it. You know what I'm saying? But dude, I'm excited for this Rumble, and I haven't been excited for a very long time. Now we'll get to that in a second. I just want to talk two more things from the Saturday night's main event. My two big things. Jey Uso is the guy to me.
Okay.
Come on, like did that Gunther match?
I won't say that he's not. The issue is he really going to be the guy to become world heavyweight champion on Raw? Sure. Will it be this year? I don't know. If it doesn't happen this year, it'll almost look like the Joe Hendry factor. Like, oh, when are you going to give it to him? When are you going to give it to him?
And they might give it to him too late. Like it might be like a day late and $1 short because it might have passed. But I think right now I mean, maybe you make him lose because you want him to win at the Rumble. I don't fucking know. I just thought it was a great match, and I just watched this guy, and I'm like, you know, if you would have told me a couple of years ago, and when I mean a couple of years ago, I mean right before he started feuding with Roman, so like 5 years ago, that Jey Uso would be a solo star, not just a solo single wrestler.
Yeah.
Which you knew that both Usos can go in the ring. It's not like they're inept. They're both good workers.
Correct.
But the fact that he's become a fucking star, like a mega star, and has like merch, and I told my wife this constantly, and I think you might agree with this, dude. When you get a word over, you're fucking over. It's when a word, it's just a word, and you have a word with a thing. Like Danielson had this, right, and now he's got the yeet shit.
Yeah,
you're over. Like you're over, and I'm like looking at this guy on Saturday night's main event. He's coming out, and they're going fucking bananas to him. And like let's bring it back to Roy. Came out with Travis Scott. You know what I'm saying? Like the big celebrity guest, they put him with him. I feel that guy, if he won the Rumble, I would not be shocked, and I'd be like, this guy is probably going to win the belt from Gunther at WrestleMania. So maybe they just didn't want to give it to him at Saturday night's main event. Maybe they want to just see what it was. Well, let's see this match. They had a good match on Raw for the Intercontinental belts and shit like that, right? When they were feuding. Yeah. And let's see.
I thought this was a really good match too. They gave you that, he might win because it was close.
It was.
It was that close call, but no.
When he hit that picture perfect splash, I was like, whoa, they might shock everybody right now and give this belt to him, and maybe at the Rumble he just loses it to Gunther. But the way I like this. Did you see like the reversal into the powerbomb? Did you see that?
Yes, that was pretty sick.
It was pretty impressive.
That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
And then he just picked him back up for one more, and it was over. I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it very, very much. My other takeaway from Saturday night's main event is more Jesse the Body Ventura, please. Because he made me laugh. And obviously, I would never like take shots at somebody for production value in WWE because they're like the standard. But like the opening video, kind of dog shit. It wasn't that good. I was a little.
Not everybody's crazy. Not everybody's crazy about it. People would love for when they did the first show, since it's supposed to be that old school feel to the show.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
would love the proper theme music that's supposed to be playing instead of the Saturday night's main event music playing.
yeah,
When they do promos and everything, and also like some of those promos were really long. I was
yeah,
just like, what is going on?
yeah.
For that first episode, they didn't do it this one.
And I do like that they call the back spot the Okerland for Gene Okerlund.
Yeah.
That was cool. Fernando says this was Jay's best performance as a singles wrestler. Buddy, it was up there because, listen, the work he did with Roman in 2020, in my opinion, I saw it then. I was like, oh, this guy, you give him some time. He can make it. He could be a star if you kind of like really let this set in. And if he can kind of embrace talking on the mic, because at the time, they were a little, him and his brother were very shaky on the mic. They weren't that great.
Yeah.
They were all right, but they weren't great. Speaking of that, in Saturday night's main event, I am all in on Jacob Fatu.
I was waiting for you to get to that. I was waiting for you to get to that.
Buddy, you can just say this to me all day with Jacob Fatu.
You fucking mark!
Because I am all in on Fatu. And my wife was, he come walking, he cut that. First off, are you a fan of his promos?
Yeah.
I love those, like walking to the ring and shit. I like that whole new look of it. And then his theme hit my. This is how I know. By the way, I'm getting my wife into wrestling. He come walking out, and she just does a little. It's quiet between the two of us, and she just kind of looks at me, and I go, "What's up?" And she goes, "He's got a cool theme."
He really does.
I was like, "He does, yeah." I was like,
I was like, all right, because they switched it up by throwing in the little intro to the theme now, and I was just like, all right, I can run with this.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him, and I saw him when we were working at House of Glory when we were producing the shows for him, and he beat Matt Cardona for the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Yo, this guy! I'm so shocked he's on WWE. Holy shit, he was awesome. Why did it take this long?"
Probably people were just waiting to see what was going to happen, and then also they wanted him in better shape. He dropped a decent amount of weight.
Okay.
Now he's on TV. I mean, his knees are going to be done by a certain age. By the way, he does the moonsaults are insane.
They are.
I've never seen. I've seen pretty moonsaults over. We've seen pretty moonsaults over the year, but like he just does it like it's nothing.
Yeah. And at that size, Samoans never cease to amaze me with their athleticism, at the fact that their size. Rollkeeper says, I've always been a fan of Fatu since his days at MLW. Facts, dude. I seen it a couple times, and I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. All right. And then when I saw him live, the Fatu singles run has begun. Yes, Fernando, it has, bud. And I'm excited to see it. And he got me on SmackDown because I watched that promo with him and Tamatanga, and I was like, "Oh, they don't fucking need Solo." At first, I was
that's
worried.
the thing. He's already gonna surpass Solo. You just see it. Everybody knew it when he came in. Like it was just like, this is it. We know that this is gonna wind up being the guy. I feel like if they don't, well, I don't want to go forward where I'm thinking at right now, so I'll just wait if we need to discuss Raw at any point. But him and Roman is definitely a money making match.
I think so.
If it's going to happen at Mania, only time will tell.
Hell yeah, yeah, I think so too. But I just like seeing those promos, seeing his work with Braun. Like, listen, I haven't given a shit about Braun Strowman in quite some time now, and I was excited for that match on Saturday night. And when it went down, great finish in my opinion.
Yeah,
because nobody looks weak. And now you have it going further into the Rumble. Obviously, it's going to be something crazy at the Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
He should go over on Roman when they finally meet. He's referring to Jacob Fatu.
Well, that's gonna be a tough call on him because, Fatu still hasn't been pinned yet.
Yeah.
We don't know what is. We're going to see Roman tonight, obviously, on Raw. We don't know what they're really going to have in store next.
Yeah.
Part of me feels like because it's Netflix, we're moving Roman to Raw.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think Roman, and I wouldn't be surprised if they switch the champs and send Gunther over to SmackDown and bring Cody over to Raw at some point.
I think that might be a bad move, though.
You think so?
I think that might be a bad move because I feel like they need the face of the company on television still. Because if you
I
have Roman and you got Punk
yeah,
on Netflix on Raw,
yeah,
it's fine. It's in good hands with the roster that they currently have there.
yeah. I mean, they switched Damian Priest over to SmackDown.
He because how many times do you want to see the Judgment Day against Damian Priest?
That's true. No, I
The
agree with
story the story's over with. Like
that.
people are just like, somebody said to me Liv Morgan has showed up on SmackDown and I was like, well, did she get involved with Priest? I said, was Dominic there? I said, no, it's all women's championship related stuff. So I was
Mhm.
like, it was fine.
Yeah.
Um, honorable mention. I don't think you're going to agree with me. I don't think many people are going to agree with me. But this has been Nia Jax's best work since she's been with the company. Period. I feel that she's had better matches
I mean,
in recent memory.
has she hurt anybody in this new run? In this
No,
run?
nobody said that she's hurting anybody. I feel like ever since Bailey had made mention of that in the promo, which I still thought was weird,
Yeah.
because just like you're hurting people. I was just like, wait, you're giving away that this is choreographed. Like it was a little weird when that promo took place. I was just like,
Sometimes I don't like when they do that. I don't mind peeling the curtain a little bit, but when you start to
yeah,
peel a little too much, it's like, don't do that. I
because then it's
understand.
like you're sitting, everybody's like, so none of this is real. We could
Yeah.
just get up or ask for our money back. Like that's
Yeah.
the thought in my head. But
Exactly. It's like, wait a minute, I've been bamboozled.
I actually enjoyed her and Rhea Ripley.
uh, for what I saw of it, because it was the opening contest, and I was doing some stuff related to this. Honestly, um, it looked fine. It didn't look bad at all. Listen, at some point you got to get over the curve and get good, right? So at least she's not hurting anybody.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. Nia put on a fire performance this Saturday. Listen, it's her best work because seems like she gives a damn.
yeah.
It didn't seem like she gave a damn the last time, so she was hurting people. She didn't give a fuck. It seems in
They've been
my
giving her more main events, so I'm actually impressed with the work that she's putting in.
yeah,
People wanted to jump up and say, "Well, she's The Rock's cousin." I was just like, ah, she's big, she can't be missed, and she's actually doing better. So let's see what she does going further.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's a perfect segue into Royal Rumble predictions. Here we're going to get into the Royal Rumble now. Um, and I'll let you start off with what you think's going to go down. We'll start with the championship matches now,
Okay.
and I'm talking about winners just yet because we don't know. Do you know who Gunther might defend the title against?
Okay. So last week I had alluded to the fact that they had Gunther on Saturday night's main event defending the title. So he probably will be sitting somewhere in a special box watching the Rumble show.
Okay, all right. So he's not even going to defend the belt. All right. So
Because
it's,
even the women are not booked to defend their titles. Like
I think
they'll like Tiffany Stratton and Rhea Ripley will more than likely, if they're not sitting at ringside watching it, they'll be in in a special box watching somewhere.
you don't. No, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't because I was thinking like because they did some shit on SmackDown where they cut a promo together, and
Yes.
well maybe they do like a Royal Rumble tag match together, some shit just to kind of get them on the cart. But
I
I don't
mean,
know.
you got the two Rumble matches. You have the 2 out of 3 falls tag title match for the
Yeah.
SmackDown tag titles, and you have the ladder match. I think last year they did probably about 4 matches,
Okay.
and the show starts at 6, which, like I said, is a great start time.
Yes, I agree.
Do I miss it being on Sundays? Yes, but if it happens Saturday, you still got Sunday to just chill and relax.
Been watching
So
it.
so there's a positive there.
Yeah.
Um, I think the entire show is booked because they don't even do pre-show matches anymore.
They don't need to. Like I mean, what are you gonna like? I feel like everybody who's got a major story is taking it into the Rumble, and this for me is the first time in a very long time that the Rumble seems to mean something. Like,
Yes.
because like, so many stories are going into the Rumble, and you're just like, whoa, man. And I can't believe I'm going to say this because of like it's this era, and I'm the era before or a couple hours
Mhm.
before, but this Rumble's pretty stacked to a point where you're like, I don't think they need many nostalgia acts for this. Like, I think
Do
this story is
you
enough.
Do you think this Rumble has the ability to come near close to the 92 Rumble, which is depicted as the greatest Royal Rumble of all time?
Yeah. I mean, the story for that Rumble was the winner becomes the champion.
Correct.
So going into that Rumble, you were like, yo, this means something. And I feel like between Cena, CM Punk, which in a second I want to talk about him, CM Punk, Seth, Roman, now Sami Zayn did a compelling promo on Raw, basically setting up a boyhood dream scenario if
Mm-hmm.
he wins this. And that also brings me back to my point where Shawn Michaels and Triple H literally recycled the greats of their gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see Shawn and Triple H in the locker room, and Shawn and Triple H like, "What do you think we should do?" And then Shawn's like, "Well, maybe we should just do the boyhood dream for Sammy," that kind of shit. Like instead of just like making something like new and original, sometimes I think they beat the classics because they know they think it'll work still. And it still does work, but there's so many stories going in to where it's like, yeah, this Rumble. That's why I can understand now why Gunther doesn't have a match, why the women's tag titles or the Intercontinental title won't be defended, because your mind is going to be set to that Royal Rumble match.
Yes.
You're gonna all these stars are in the Rumble, and I want to know who's going to win. Is John Cena going to continue this retirement tour right into WrestleMania as the challenger for the championship? I don't think so. But before we get there, who do you think is going to be the WWE champion when it's all said and done? Cody Rhodes or one Kevin Owens?
Now, me personally, I would love for the title to switch hands as a surprise
Me too.
because nobody would see it coming.
Yeah.
During Cody's reign, I think Kevin Owens has worked hard enough to have that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he were to win it, go into Montreal and lose it, which would probably cause a riot. I'd be all for that. But Cody, I think, will retain the championship.
Yeah.
And it also, because they're putting both titles up, I don't know. I had this strange feeling like they would fuse it and make it a brand new belt. It's a scary thought in my head, but WWE's unpredictable like that. So you get a brand new winged eagle with that big ass WWE logo just right into the title.
Yeah.
And then people, and it'll be like, it could be hit or miss.
Yeah. Fernando says this is the most unpredictable open field Royal Rumble ever. Yes, and I would say yes and no, because there was a few Royal Rumbles where you kind of didn't, like The Rock and Austin were in it, and you kind of didn't know which way they were going to go. It's very, like I said, it's the most star-studded. Sammy turns heel and helps KO win the championship. That's a bold prediction, Fernando. Here's my prediction on that. I think Sami Zayn will not help. And then I think Kevin Owens is going to eliminate Sami Zayn from the Rumble because of it. And I think they will have a one-on-one either in Montreal or they will have their one-on-one WrestleMania match because of that. So Kevin Owens will spurn off the Cody Rhodes trail and go back into Sami Zayn because was it last year they won the tag titles? It was last year.
2 years ago. 2023.
Okay, so 2 years ago they win the tag titles, and now 2 years later they're going to have that match that they had talked about their whole life, the one-on-one at WrestleMania.
Well, this would be their second one-on-one at Mania.
So they fought before the one-on-one at
They
Mania?
fought WrestleMania, the one in 2021.
Oh shit! Okay, so
yeah,
dude, that's how bad it is with the new.
That was where he actually stunned Logan Paul. Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens walked in as the baby face. He was a
heel at the time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, I remember it. All right. Well, I think this will mean more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because think of it. Sammy, even if it's inadvertent, Sammy cost Kevin the title, and then Owens costs him a shot at the title. So now you ain't winning the Rumble. The pandemic mania. Thank you, Fernando.
Correct.
So I would think that would work. I could see Owens winning and Sami Zayn winning the Rumble too. But like now I didn't know Montreal was a thing. I didn't know Elimination Chamber was in Canada. I didn't know that. So Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens winning and taking the belt into Elimination Chamber in his home country would be great. But I think if he gets screwed over again, he can just crybaby his way to another match in Montreal. But I don't know. What do you think the big money maker is? Another title match between Cody and Kevin, or one-on-one him and Sami Zayn, because they have a little bit of animosity?
But you know something, if they did that match in Montreal, it would mean a lot. It would be a big deal. It might even be bigger than Mania, almost bigger than Mania,
I'm saying,
maybe even equal to.
yeah,
I don't think I want another. I think this is the end of the feud for Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes.
yeah, I definitely think it's the blow off for sure.
But I think Cody winds up retaining. That's just where I
Yeah,
stand with that.
yeah. The 2 out of 3 falls tag match between DYI, and I agree with Greco. He said last week, I don't know why you're a tag team, or did you say that in your the name?
I said it. I was about to go, yeah, do it yourself.
Yeah, and you got somebody with
Okay.
you. Yeah, I said to my wife on Friday. Yeah, my wife said the same thing.
The Motor
Yeah.
City Machine Guns.
Yeah, I said to her, I was like, well, why would you do it yourself and then have a tag team partner? Technically, you're doing it with somebody else.
If you also remember, I was the one who said that they should put that match on the show.
Yeah, and
I
they
said
did.
that last week. So, like I said, when I say things, it becomes gospel. It's truth. I don't make things up.
That means you should be working there, pal. Writing the story.
Wish.
The Machine Guns are winning the tag titles. Do you agree with that?
That's a hard one because I know they want to make yet another special moment for DIY as far as 2 out of 3 falls go in a tag match.
Okay.
Their first run was short. The Machine Guns winning was just a way to get them off the Bloodline 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
And just for them to like finally be incorporated in a major story along the way. Because they've only lost 2 times, Machine Guns.
Yeah, yeah.
So that being said, I feel like DIY has a chance of retaining.
Yeah.
And at some point we will run it back again somehow somewhere, one way or another.
Do you think it happens in Mania?
Yeah, but I feel like other tag teams will be incorporated in it just to get
Yeah.
more bodies on the card since
Yeah.
it's 2 nights.
Yeah, probably that Pretty Deadly and a couple
You
other
know
things.
something? I see Angel and Berto being in that match. I see the Street Profits finally coming back and possibly, if they're not on Smack, well, no, see, that's the thing. When you're married to somebody that's on a particular brand, you don't necessarily jump up and leave that brand.
Right,
The
yeah.
only people that are separating that's because they're not married would be Tiffany Stratton and Ludwig Kaiser. So, because he's on Raw, she's on SmackDown.
Yeah, okay.
So, if Bianca was to move to Raw, then I can see Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins moving. But I can see them also being on within that match for Mania if it was to happen.
Yeah. Now, speaking, I don't want to jump ahead to Mania, but I assume that Bianca Belair will fight Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. I assume that's what they're setting up for. Or am I wrong? It seems like somebody gave the shine job and they took her out Shawn Michaels style. Again, by the way, we saw that happen to Shawn Michaels many years ago on the windshield, knocked out, right? So, they're doing the same bullshit. It's the same shit.
With a lot of the stories, especially if you watch NXT over the last past year, maybe 2 years, it's a lot of Shawn Michaels related.
Shawn Michaels' greatest hits.
And I'm not mad at it because they're still enjoyable. So I know we're not supposed to really jump ahead to NXT related stuff, but obviously they're going to center stage. They're going to be in Atlanta tomorrow. I believe Jade might actually be from Atlanta. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it. They have a tag title defense there up against the girls from the group Metaphor, Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson. So I feel like something has to happen where Jade like just reemerges and somebody gets shocked and spooked by the fact that she's around. Because everybody's saying, well, I think they're going to turn Naomi heel. And I'm just like, I said, I can't see them turning Bianca heel because she's such a baby face to the girls and depicted as such an inspiration that like it's kind of like the Cena thing. You can't switch him over.
Yeah.
So, why switch her over? Girl power, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It's very tough to figure out who is
I mean, it'd be smart to do it on NXT because now you make that show very interesting. Like anything
Yeah.
can happen on this show. I did notice that they're bringing a lot of the main roster people to
Yeah,
show
because
up.
Bailey's on the show tomorrow too. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, and dude, I noticed the NXT is just all women. I don't. You said Jim Cornette makes a joke about it, and I tend
Yes.
to agree with him. Like, Jesus Christ, he's not wrong. Like, what the fuck?
Even though Bailey's been on like almost every show, it was the
All
last
right, so
2-3 weeks. I was just like,
that. Yeah. Fernando agrees with me. By the way, it could possibly be Naomi versus Jade at WrestleMania. I think they're going to turn one of them heel. I agree with you. If the one is over with all the kids, probably
yeah,
not a smart idea to turn heel.
Yeah.
But Naomi, why not? Somebody's got to be the heel. So turn. Like why not? The women's Royal Rumble match. We'll just touch on that real quick. Any thought to you think Charlotte, now she's returning, is she going to win? What's going to go on to?
I find it funny that every time we got to play a Charlotte vignette, we have to show Tiffany Stratton. Obviously, they're doing that on purpose to tease things.
Yes, but I believe what they call foreshadowing.
Yes. Do I think this is the most appropriate time to throw a Becky Lynch in the Royal Rumble? Sure.
Mhm.
Like, as you know, because before they weren't doing, like, we could have waited and just saw Charlotte come out. I kind of hate when they be like, "Oh, she's coming." I'd be like, "There goes one surprise that they could have had."
Wow, that's a bold statement, Fernando. Jordan Grace is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble and challenge Rhea and win, not just challenge, but win the championship at WrestleMania.
All right, so early morning. I'm not trying to be rude, but that might be a case of early morning edibles, narcotics, possibly used, because I don't see it happening, my friend. Not yet.
Bold prediction, Fernando. If that happens, I suggest you go out and play the lotto the next day.
Seriously, because that's a huge take right there. I see her being in the Rumble. I even see, maybe one or two other TNA roster members, male or female, in the Rumble.
Yeah.
But as far as the women's Rumble, I'm having a hard time in my head over who I could see winning that.
Yeah. I if you ask me, I couldn't tell you, hey, same time toys in the house stuff, but I think I would just if listen, I don't really care. You know how I feel about that bullshit, that whole women's wrestling shit. But if you put a gun to my head right now and was like, can you please pick a winner for me? Charlotte Flair got the vignettes. She's always been the WWE standard. I assume it's just if so facto John Cena style. You show up, you win. But and I think like you just said, they keep foreshadowing the SmackDown to Tiffany, whatever her name is.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume if you're a betting man, you would put your money on Charlotte winning and then challenging Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania, and they'll have this, I guess, this classic match that they're hoping that they can have because, obviously, like I said, Charlotte to the WWE is the standard bearer, right? Yes. He's the measuring stick, if you will, and I guess this one is the second coming of said measuring stick. So
correct.
It's like, Brides, the young lion fights the old lion who is going to be, king of the jungle now type shit. I see that. If you had to put a gun to my head and tell me predict that, that's what I would call. The Jordan Grace take. If that happens, that's a cool, left field. Holy shit! I can't believe they did something like that. It would be cool, yes, to shock everybody and to throw everybody off. But you and I both know how WWE works. They usually just go to the tried and true storyline, especially going into WrestleMania. And I think that makes sense.
So maybe the one that wins it will wind up being Bianca Belair.
Okay. We'll see.
If you take those tag titles off them and you put her back on a singles run,
yeah,
and she could be the one of the Royal Rumble, but also trying to be the mediator between, if it does in fact be that Naomi is the culprit to attacking Jade, she has those two things to worry about. But then you don't have to rush right away to make your decision on who you want to face at WrestleMania because there's nothing but time in between, April 14th, April 19th, and 420, because that's just the hilarious thing.
What a perfect
WrestleMania
day to
night
have,
2.
what a perfect day to have WrestleMania on.
WrestleMania is just, and the day that they chose is a bit of insanity because it's Easter Sunday,
Wow, holy
it's
shit! Yeah,
420, and it's WrestleMania. So you're celebrating all three all across the board.
I mean, Jesus Christ, the Christ has risen. I get to smoke myself stupid and watch WrestleMania. I mean, deviled eggs, WrestleMania, and weed. Come on,
There you go.
Sunday. Um, well, now let's just get to the big boy, and that's the men's Royal Rumble. And like Fernando had said before, um, both Bianca and Naomi took out Jade. So
That's wild. Wait a minute.
you think it's a double shot where they both go heel? Listen, I wouldn't take that out of the realm of possibilities. I mean, I don't know though, but I think Bianca, like you said, Bianca could play like the babyface. Like, how could you, And then Naomi just attacks her, and that could be a whole thing. I don't fucking know. But one thing's for sure, one of those two did it.
Yeah.
Which one? I don't know. I would assume Naomi, but one of those two did it. I'm gonna let you go first because, like we just said, it's the most unpredictable Royal Rumble in years. We don't know who could win this thing. You watch it a lot more than I do, and you watch a lot more of it than I do. So, who do you think could come out of this year's Royal Rumble and going into WrestleMania?
I think now this is gonna be a very crazy take on my behalf. So, and part of me doesn't believe, it, but I was like, I could see it. CM Punk is money.
100%.
CM Punk has had two money drawing feuds.
Yeah, man.
That have kept you interested.
And I will say this: you said this has been the best work of Nia Jax's career. I will
Yes.
say that and echo that with CM Punk. This has been his best work I've ever seen. Like, it's crazy how good the matches have been. His promo work is fucking fantastic. He just seems like happy, healthy, and literally in his 40s at the top of his game. Like, I will
I
say,
feel that now is the appropriate time to properly give this man the marquee WrestleMania match that he's always dreamed of having
yeah, yeah,
and letting him win the Royal Rumble.
yeah. Well, I'm going to echo that as well because I said this. I think it would be so awesome if he won the Royal Rumble and fought Gunther because Gunther is considered the best wrestler in WWE right now. And
Correct.
he considers himself to be the best in the world. And what way to prove to everybody that you are truly the best in the world by winning the Royal Rumble and fighting the best in Gunther. Now, I know he kind of threw it up in the air, might go after Cody Rhodes because he wants the WWE Championship, but I feel like he's already won that belt. He beat Cena in one of the best moments in wrestling history at Money in the Bank when he took the belt. I just think a match between him and Gunther, they're both on Raw,
Yes.
could be a great marquee for Gunther because he's fighting like a top guy in CM Punk. And Rokeeper says, does Punk go after Cody or Gunther? I think he goes after Gunther because, like I said, it makes the most sense. He wants to be the best in the world. He keeps calling himself that. And Gunther, they can really utilize that. Gunther goes, you claim to be the best. Well, I am the best because I'm the champion. And I've proven that I'm the best by beating all the best the WWE has to offer. Everybody they put in front of me, I've beaten. Jey Uso, so on and so forth. I beat them all. I will beat you like the rest. And CM Punk, the old veteran, does he still have it, right? I need to prove that I'm still the best. I need to beat the best, the absolute best. And I think that, to me, is money. Now, if you had to ask me my wild card, it would be either John Cena or Sami Zayn.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jey Uso. I was waiting. I was like,
no,
where's going this?
I don't think Jey Uso needs the Rumble. I think you can just pop Jey Uso in now when you need him. Jey Uso might fight Gunther again at Elimination Chamber for all we know. He might probably be Elimination Chamber match and he'll be in it.
I hope not because I'm just going to go, oh, he's going to lose again. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it goes.
I know.
He's wrestled Gunther now with, I want to say, a span of 3 times within a span of a year. And he's come on the losing end each time. So we don't need to subject ourselves to that anymore. But you don't need to be the best, but the belt to be the best, but it helps.
Well, listen, they always say that the belt doesn't make the person makes the belt, right?
Correct.
And right now, the belt isn't making Gunther. Gunther is making the belt, just like he did for the Intercontinental belt.
However, his IC title run, while being champion, he was obviously put right out there in front. I feel like this time as World Heavyweight Champion is not quite the same.
Well, no, because obviously the championships hold different weight. Like the Intercontinental belt's the workhorse belt, so you would expect him to go out and work and work and work. Where the world title is, like I said, they showed him on the opening on Netflix, and he was just walking in the locker room, not wrestling. Whereas like you're used to seeing him just go out and work with the Intercontinental belt, whereas with the world title, you got to be more of a personality. It's got because it's the title. It's got to be more behind with story. Like we can agree, right? The Intercontinental title is the work rate belt. So you just
Correct.
got to be a great worker. I mean, story always helps, but as long as you're a great worker, the matches are there. That belt, you make the belt, right? The
Yes.
belt, the WWE, the World Heavyweight Championship, whatever the fuck you want to call it, there's a lot of stories behind the championship because that's the main goal for everybody. So I feel like he's becoming more of I want to say character because I know we don't like to say that, but that's what's happening. He's becoming, it's relying more on the personality. He's wrestling less. He's just showing up, cutting a promo, being in the crowd, being in the box, and that's why maybe, at least from my perspective, the
Yeah.
title doesn't really feel the same. Like you don't
Well,
really.
that's also the other thing. Obviously, you don't get you know, you didn't get Mike Tyson boxing.
Yeah,
I think of how they treat the world title these days is
yeah,
similar to a boxing fight.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
you 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 weren't you never saw Mike Tyson box every week.
yeah.
So, it was time for that big fight for the month. All right, everybody's coming in. You pay that $39.95 to order the fight, and boom, you're off to the races with that. I have to read this other comment here. Cena wins the Rumble and challenges Cody and wins it. Listen, nobody wants that more than me. I am still waiting on the new John Cena T-shirt that's supposed to come in next week. I'm waiting on the John Cena Funko Pop that doesn't come until either May or June. So I'm sitting here waiting for it. I'm waiting to go to the Garden Show when they come on March 10th to see John Cena because he has to wrestle on that show. If he doesn't, I'm going to be very pissed off.
Buddy.
You fucking mark!
100%. When I do that, when I take the time to make an updated photo, a collage of me and all my Cena shirts, because I will do it at some point. Trust me,
You
there's a
have,
lot more.
yeah, you own all the Cena shirts, right? Like all
Well,
of
the
them.
vast majority of them, yes.
Punk versus Roman at Mania. That's a listen.
People are thinking that might happen too, so I don't,
Yeah,
I don't, I don't,
yeah.
I won't count that one out.
Roman wins the championship at Elimination Chamber from Gunther, and Heyman helps Punk get a championship match versus Roman at Mania. Cashes in on the favor. Fernando, I can play off that a little bit if we want to play fantasy booker right now. Um, I could see Punk cashing in that favor at a Royal Rumble, and Heyman costing Roman the Rumble, like helping Punk win the Rumble, and that's the favor. And if you want to add this little nugget in as a sweetener, where Roman beats Gunther and they take the title into WrestleMania versus Punk, that would be cool too. But I think if Punk doesn't win the Rumble, let's say your first take wins and Cena wins, right? Let's just say on the off chance either Jay or Sammy, they want to shock the world and one of those guys win it. I could see Paul Heyman costing Roman um, because of Punk. And then Roman maybe coming back out and throwing Punk out or getting Punk eliminated so that they can have a match at WrestleMania. I can see something like that happen. But
Uh,
I don't see Roman beating Gunther. I mean, that would literally just shit can Gunther's whole thing. Like if he just
100%.
right, if Roman beat him at
Yeah.
Elimination Chamber, like don't get me wrong, we've seen stuff like that happen before. But Gunther's put too much time into that belt right now, and he's really carrying it well. I think he's a great champion. I think he's a champion where you're like, it's a very insurmountable odd. Like he's so good in the ring and shit like that, and he has a presence about him, where you're like, yeah, I want Punk to win, but he might not. Or like I want this guy to win, but he might not because Gunther's that good. Where if Roman Reigns just came in and won that belt, and now all of a sudden Roman's the champion on Raw, you might as well move Gunther to SmackDown at that point because you just really just shit canned him. At least
Here, here are two interesting callbacks though from Survivor Series. One thing I was thinking is the guys that were in the War Games match teamed
Mhm.
up that won, which was the Bloodline and CM Punk. I do feel like we're gonna get a moment where they're all in the ring together and they have no other choice but to fight each other.
That's cool. I
I
like
see
that.
that happening. I still want to know what it is that what's the favor because I feel like that's something that's just drifted away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if tonight we get CM Punk, obviously tonight we get Roman Reigns coming out with Paul Heyman, it'll be very interesting if CM Punk is the one to interrupt that promo and they do the face-to-face to tease things going towards the Rumble.
Buddy, you say from your lips to WWE's ears, I honestly believe that we'll probably see that tonight for sure.
Now, once again, if it happens,
you heard it here first on Spot Monkey Radio. Absolutely 100%. So listen, I hate to do this, but we have to segue to AEW.
Oh God, where do you want to go first? You want to go with Dynamite or did you watch Collision Homecoming?
Buddy, you couldn't pay me to watch Collision.
Okay, so I will read the results that I have here from AEW Collision Homecoming. Samoa Joe defeated Nick Wayne. Kazuchika Okada defeated Commander. The Undisputed Kingdom defeated Daniel Garcia in 2.0. The Hounds of Hell, once upon a time the House of Blick, defeated the Gates of Agony. Yuka Sakazaki, which I didn't even know she was in the AEW video game, which is a game I no longer play, defeated Deonna Purrazzo, Serena Deeb, and Queen Aminata. And Konosuke Takeshita defeated Katsuyori Shibata. I'm going to tell you right now, the only matches that I did watch in its entirety.
By the way, before you continue, God bless you.
Yeah. The only matches that I watched in its entirety were Samoa Joe versus Nick Wayne and the Undisputed Kingdom against Daniel Garcia in 2.0. Everything else I skimmed through. The one thing I did not skim through was the big brawl between Big Bill and Powerhouse Hobbs. Okay. And the segment that they had where it was Mariah May meeting Rocker Tony Storm or whatever they're calling her. Mm-hmm. But now, see, I know we're going backwards and it doesn't matter, but because then we'll get to Dynamite.
Yeah.
They're doing the thing where literally Tony Storm has turned into Mick Foley. That's what it is. If anybody else wants to challenge my opinion on that, that's what it is. Collision was good in my opinion. To each their own. Here's the thing. I'm not saying it was a bad show.
I think she came back as the other angle?
So she came out dressed in the original look that she had before she went crazy in black and white.
Okay.
Mariah May wanted, just like come clean. We're not doing this. So then Toni Storm puts out her hands to get her handshake, and she gets slapped not once, twice, and then she just starts wailing on her with the championship. She beats her down to the point where referees, security all come in, and they try to break it up. And then before you know it, Toni Storm, who's down on all fours, grabs the microphone, and she starts talking again, completely different now. She's telling her that what she was doing was all an act. And now she's timeless again. And she's going to rip the tits off Mariah May.
Oh, my God.
And everybody, here's the thing. These things don't necessarily bother me when the crowd is into it. Even if I don't agree with it.
Yeah. So wait a minute.
If the crowd is hot for it, I was like, go off.
So wait a minute. So who hit who with the belt?
Mariah May was beating down Toni Storm with the title. And then Toni Storm had her little transformation in the ring where she got up, she started speaking again. She shouted she was timeless. She stripped out of the original Toni Storm gear from when she first came into the company. And then that was that. And I was just like,
I've given AEW 2 weeks. I will continue to watch it for this show, obviously. But it's the same bullshit it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago when I had my hissy fit live during the watch-alongs, when I used to do the watch-alongs. I think I've long since... No, I haven't deleted them because they're part of Spot Monkey Radio archives. They're there. And you can see the 2 years ago when I was like, this is absolute garbage, and I got yelled at because I said what I felt about it. Now, my thing is, they have great talent. I'm not saying that the talent is not there. It's there. I've seen it. I like Powerhouse Hobbs. They were building like some homegrown talent. I don't know what the fuck happened to that. It just the same segments, exactly the way it was 2.5 years ago. Nothing's evolved. Nothing's changed. Nothing's gotten any better. In fact, it's just gotten worse. It seems like nothing. It didn't make sense then. It makes less sense now. Like I
Okay.
was hoping by the time I jump back into it, it would be like, okay, at least they've kind of corrected this little shitstorm. But no, he has literally let the shitstorm bowl out of control now. It is fucking baffling how one guy is feuding with 7 different people. I don't understand it. Why is Edge feuding with this guy, and this guy? Why is
all right. So now let's go back to Dynamite because to me, I felt Dynamite might have been the better show between the two that they had.
Okay.
I'll read the results again on Dynamite. The Hurt Syndicate are the new AEW Tag Team Champions as they defeated Private Party. Swerve Strickland defeated AR Fox. Hangman Page defeated a local talent.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jamie Hayter defeated Julia Hart, so they're 1-1. And Cope defeated Pac. So the opening bit of the show was the in-ring segment between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Now, I feel Kenny Omega needed to come back to the company.
Yeah.
I remember when they right at the start of the year, at the beginning of the month, when the first year's episodes went on Max, I started watching the things that I never seen before, even the shows, and I was just like, man, it was so different, but still, I guess because sometimes my brain can't consume too much wrestling. Like people think that just because I love wrestling, I get the shirts and everything, I want to watch it all day. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. Because realistically speaking, you could go through social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter. I will never call it X. Still Twitter to me. Instagram. You go through all that stuff, and you could catch up just by that.
Yeah.
And even when people, post things and make comments on stuff in the different groups. So I was just like, damn. I was like, everybody seemed happier. It was a different time. And today, now, I'm just like, if they're serious about letting go of this Death Rider storyline, I'd be very happy. But I'm sorry, but I don't mean to jump over. They had the in-ring thing where, Ospreay saying he's a different guy. You've been gone for 13 months. Things have changed. And Omega's like, no, just stop. Just stop. I don't accept your apology. I don't trust you. Blah, blah, blah. And then out comes Don Callis. A lot of people get annoyed with Don Callis. I actually like Don Callis.
I've been a fan of Don Callis since he was Cyrus the Virus.
Yes.
Yeah.
I won't say when he was part of the Truth Commission, so I'll never say that. But
that was a little dumb, but yeah.
But yeah, when he was basically working for TNN, the network,
yeah,
at ECW and all that stuff, I enjoyed that, and I enjoy what he's doing now.
Yeah.
With the the Don Callis family, it was basically his own spin off the Heenan family to me.
Heenan family, yeah.
Yeah. So he's got Brian Cage, he's got Lance Archer, he's got forgetting freaking names. He's got Konosuke Takeshita. He has one other guy, but I'm just like, we haven't seen Trent Beretta in a minute. And
the Virus, oh my
Kyle
God.
Kyle Fletcher. And they all come out and they get into this big brawl, and this brawl lasted probably for about 10 minutes. It was a decent amount of the show that happened in that first half an hour.
It was like, yeah, that was a lot.
It was a lot going on. And it was just like, there's 5 of you, and you still can't beat up the 2 of them. And we run off from that.
Yeah. It was confusing from Jump Street.
Yes.
Because he says, I don't trust you. And then at the end, they're on the gracking, and he's like, I want to apologize to you.
Yeah. By the way, he didn't apologize. Because when you apologize, you say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I just was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? And then we get to the other segments, and listen, I mean, poor Private Party, when they came down, you could literally see that they were lambs led to the slaughter. Those 2 guys came out with the tag titles. They literally looked defeated before they even hit the ring. You could
funny thing that It's a funny thing that you bring that up. So when you said it, I was at work and I wasn't watching the show.
Yeah.
And when I finally watched it, I remembered that you said that. And then I was like, okay, there's two reasons. Number one was job face.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Number two, they played the wrong theme.
I
You
thought
didn't
so.
hear where they switched songs
Yeah. I
by
thought
the moment they got to the apron? Because
yeah.
then they got hyped up to hype up the crowd, and it was just like, you guys are like a minute too late.
Yeah. And they fucked, like I said, they looked absolutely like, wow, they couldn't even get the theme right for us. They just want the belts off of us. They want
I
to get it
thought,
on you guys. It was fucking crazy.
now for me, I thought that was a decent match. It was what it needed to be because who out of them is going to be throwing around Bobby Lashley or Shelton Benjamin?
I know, but that's why you feel bad. Like those guys worked their ass off for those tag titles, no? And they finally wasn't that like recent they won those belts?
They won those belts back in October.
All right, so okay, so I take it back. They had for a little bit.
They
But
won them back in October. They probably had maybe, if not one, maybe two paper. I would have to go back on my DVR to watch it.
so they really
I know
didn't.
for sure they had that one. They had a fatal 4-way title defense, and they may have had another one in December that I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's just like they really didn't get to take off and do anything with those belts.
Yeah, they didn't really have a good run with them, and they did. I think they earned it. They've been there since the fucking beginning.
Yeah,
I mean,
and still to this day, it's like there are people that were there that was like, man, I thought at one point, and it never happened, and
yeah.
then it took them all this time, and it's like, all right, at some point, guys are gonna get disgruntled, and before you know it, you may see them working in TNA, which is not a bad thing to say these days.
No, it's really not. And speaking of that's a perfect segue because I'm listen. We can you if you want to talk about Edge and I.
I don't want to talk. I just want to say a few things.
Go ahead.
I would like John Moxley to be by himself and not lead a faction.
Everything you said about that team, I agree with. By the way,
He's in the greatest shape of his life.
yeah.
Like, he doesn't need this faction.
No.
He doesn't need to be this loony.
No, yeah.
It's a long, ongoing story that I feel like it's just everybody groans when they see it.
Yeah, it's a fact. Dude, at the end of the show, when they beat up Edge, but by the way, let me touch on something, like you bring it up. I know you love Jeff Jarrett, and I want him to have a nice little retirement run. He deserves it. He's been around a very long time, and he has done a lot for the wrestling game. But how can you have a retirement run and then Claudio comes out and just beats the shit out of you?
Here's the thing. I'm not too crazy about this idea that he's got this retirement run, especially we just did it with Sting 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We're doing it right now with Cena, which is why it's just like, all right, I'm glad that they deflected WWE and didn't do it last year. They waited some time to turn around and do it. My thing is Jeff Jarrett was a star, is a star, but never to the stature of a Sting or a John Cena.
He doesn't deserve a retirement run.
No.
But I'm like, that's what I'm saying. Like, all right, you want to give the old timer because he's probably helping the locker room a little bit of what he can if they're listening. Then I understand you kind of want to give him a send off because Jeff Jarrett's been around for a while. But for two things, Jeff Jarrett is a career heel. He's
correct.
Babyface a couple of times, but it never worked. He always was he's a great bad guy. Always has been. Always will be. And as well as I do, if you're a heel, you don't have this beautiful fucking send off. You go out on your back, embarrassed. They send you packing. Like, listen, the shit he says in the ring with MJF, like, I don't know what you're trying to do. I understand you're trying to make the storyline mean something, but you're nothing like MJF. You're like, you were a lot like me. Like, no. I mean, maybe you'll fuck somebody over to win a match and shit like that, but you're two completely different characters. I never look at MJF and go, I remember, Jeff Jarrett was like this. Like I never saw it. I don't know what he was saying. So I understand you're trying to make it mean something, and I get it. You're trying to throw it up against a wall. But Jeff Jarrett, this whole thing, I don't know when this happened. I think it's the disconnect with sports entertainment and sports now, where wrestling wants to be more realistic, like a sport. Like I don't like the way WWE is shot now. It is literally shot like a sporting event. It is not shot anymore like a television show. Like if you watch it, it's like watching NFL on Fox. It really is. Like they showed them show up to the building the same way players do. They interview them now the same way they interview players and coaches. They have press conferences afterwards now. Like I don't know what the fuck happened, but that's where it is. So now all of a sudden, all these legends are getting these retirement runs where like you're gonna have to touch. Oh, the last time you can see Jeff Jarrett, like you said, it works for Sting, it works for Cena because they were the pinnacle. You couldn't get any higher than what they were. Jarrett was the champion of TNA, but he was the champion of TNA when we would laugh at TNA for how silly it was and how stupid it was, and how every time you turned around, he put the belt back on himself every time, and you made it was like a joke. And listen, I could be in the minority here. I really don't care. I've watched TNA since its inception. Obviously, I don't really watch much of it now because it's not on TV no more. I have Verizon and they don't have access. So I don't watch TNA as much as I would if it was on TV. But I watched Jeff Jarrett through TNA. I watched that top dog run that he had, the King of the Mountain. I watched that shit. And even then, I was like, this guy's not a star. I was like, what are we doing here? It's always been like he's been, to me, a mid-carder his whole career. You want to have a retirement match at AEW, like a send-off, and just pick a top opponent that you've either worked with or want to work with. You want to work MJF as your retirement match? Fine. But a retirement run where you think you're going to get a shot at the AEW title against Jon Moxley, on what planet do you think he's going to drop the title to you? Like, we see through it. So that's why it makes no sense. Like John Cena, there's people in this chat room that have now multiple people have said John Cena is going to win the Rumble. Yeah. They believe because John Cena is the top dog. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he will, but if he did, it wouldn't surprise me. But he's the top dog. Jarrett was the top dog of a third-rate company, like a third-rate. And if I'm being generous, all right? Because if you count SmackDown and Raw as two different shows, TNA was a third-rate, fourth-rate show. I'm sorry. So I don't think he deserves a run. I'm happy he's getting it for the people who love Jeff Jarrett. This way you have him. But the bigger question is who's going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame during Mania this year? They haven't announced anybody, I noticed. And usually they do that shit. Usually they do
in this month. Usually it happens, but now it's so different that you just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know, Shane. That's a good question. Listen, all my heroes have been inducted. So everybody who I would watch has been already inducted. I don't know who else you can induct at this point that would make me want to even watch the Hall of Fame. I don't know. So I don't know, Shane. But that being said, let's just quickly touch on TNA and NXT, because since we're talking about TNA, the famous last push for a paycheck. It's that, and it's just, listen, me and Malik have both been on the other side. We've been in the ring, okay? You have it until you don't, and even when you don't have it, you still think you got it. It's just the way it is. Yesterday, I broke my bed fucking around with my wife because she called me a bitch and ran down the hall. So I chased after her, and I slid onto the bed like as if I was sliding into the ring, and I completely broke the bed. And I got up off the bed, and I said to my wife, I said, yo, man, I think I still got it. I think I still got it. I said, you know what? I better not think that way because I want to be back in the ring.
It's funny. It's funny you're saying that because I was helping at work. I was helping a lady bring down a box spring. It didn't fit into the service elevator. And I had tripped, but I was still on the steps. I was just like talking about missing the steps. I was like, are we really terrible? And then before you know it, I missed 3 or 4 steps and I land in a leg drop position. And I was just like, that actually didn't hurt.
Yeah.
I was just like I don't ever want to get up and go, yeah, I'll get in the ring because I'm like, no.
Second nature. One time she called me. I forgot. We were joking around. She said something else, and I picked her up. Not even thinking. I gave her a blue thunder bomb right on the bed, and she's like, "I love that. That was fun." And I just looked at her and I was like, "Better be careful, man, because I'm about to get in that ring and start dropping fucking bows on people. You have no fucking idea right now." Same time says Double J was the top of the mid card. He was great Intercontinental champion. Great Intercontinental champion. Fantastic. I'm not saying Jeff Jarrett isn't a talented dude. He's not worthy of a retirement run. I just think that like he should just maybe have one match, fight somebody that either he had a great feud with. Like, listen, honestly, I know this sounds crazy, but if he wasn't with AEW and WWE, had him on the, I was able to, I'd bring him in, have him, if AJ Styles is healthy, have him fight AJ Styles as a retirement match, because he had great matches with AJ. AJ can still kind of go, because AJ can give him a little bit of a great send off and send him on his way. I think that would be a good thing for Jeff. Fighting MJF and Moxley and losing is, I mean, listen, I know you go out on your back, but that's not a good retirement run. You're wasting this thing at AEW if you want to even do it. So that's just me. I didn't watch either one of TNA and NXT, Malik. I don't know if you saw it. Did you?
Let's see. Results. Rosemary teamed up with Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance to defeat Masha Slamovich and Spitfire. Spitfire are the TNA Women's Tag Team Champions.
Okay.
The Hardys defeated Moose and JDC that represent the system. JDC is formerly known as Fandango. Fraxium retained the NXT tag titles as the defeat of the Rascals due to outside interference from Wesley, which was a member of the Rascals. And the main event, Joe Hendry defended the TNA World Championship against Matt Cardona, who was always ready to job.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Speaking of which, I'm sorry to go back a subject since I made mention of Matt Cardona. I found it very strange that he appeared on Ariel Helwani's show. Now, usually when you see Ariel Helwani with wrestlers, it's usually somebody that's a major star. I'm not trying to downplay Matt Cardona. What he's done on the indie scene for the past couple of years,
impressive.
Had him as a major player for the indie scene.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be a mystery entrant into the Rumble.
You know what? I'd pop in a sense because if I hear Radio, I would. I love that theme. So I think so was great, obviously. And I would listen. This is what Drew did. Drew left. This is what Cody did. They left, established themselves in the indies as a not only a great worker, but a great angle, a great personality. He's the king of the indies, right? He calls himself all that shit.
Correct.
He's been able to generate great heat. He's been able to generate great reactions. I think it would generate some great stuff. His wife already works there, so it would be easy for him to go to work again at WWE. I don't know if he signs, but I think it's time for him to go back. I think he's literally done all he can do in the indies. But what more is there for him to do? So I think it's time for him to go back and have the run, or at least something like a run that he could. I mean, listen, would he be the WWE champion? Probably not, but you could put the Intercontinental title on Zack Ryder for a while. I would do that.
So the two major things that stood out on TNA Impact, Mike Santana was in the ring cutting a promo, talking about his victory in the I Quit match over Josh Alexander when the music of Mustafa Ali hit, and he basically stated that he signed with TNA because he was with TNA, I guess, on a short deal with them, but he's come back and now he's signed, and I think we're about to be treated to a nice little rivalry between the two of them. John Layfield, JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, whatever you want to call him, made yet another appearance in the TNA World Title match as he took out Frankie Kazarian, who was ready to basically call a shot, which is basically their version of Money in the Bank.
Okay.
He was ready to cash in, but JBL laid him out with a clothesline from hell. And, made sure that the thing is, he keeps getting involved in his matches, and it's like he's trying to keep the integrity of world title matches. But if you put your hands on him and you're in the match, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
So, even if you try to cheat, which Cardona did try to do, he laid Cardona out with a clothesline as well.
Yeah. I don't get it with JBL. I think JBL is just collecting checks. He's just having fun going to wrestling shows. I mean, he was at GCW, he was at TNA, he was at AEW, he's on WWE. He's just having a blast, I assume, in this little spot of his career. He doesn't really need to do it, so you could just see it in his face. He's having a blast. He's having fun. I don't get it. I don't understand none of the stuff that he's doing. But again, why is Jeff Jarrett called the Last Outlaw? We don't know these answers. We don't have these answers on this show just yet, but I promise you we're all about investigatory journalism, and we will figure it out. All right? I promise you that. Because he's in the ring calling himself the Last Outlaw, and I'm like, when were you an outlaw? to be the last outlaw. I was like, I don't remember this.
And then the NXT results.
You guys,
Tony D'Angelo retained the
my guy.
NXT North American Championship by defeating Ridge Holland.
Ooh.
Wesley defeated Dion Lennox. Alexis King defended that fucking cup
Yeah.
trophy gimmick that they have, where he defeated Charlie Dempsey. Carmen Petrovic defeated Jada Parker.
Yeah.
Brooks Jensen and Nico Vance defeated Tony D'Angelo's family, which is Staxon and Luca. And Obafemi, the NXT champion,
Yeah.
defeated Eddie Thorpe. My takes from this show is that Obafemi is still awesome. He's still feuding with Trick, all while Trick is beginning to start a feud with Wesley. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's pretty much going viral where people have been, the slap that he laid on Wesley, which was a really good segment.
Yeah.
Like for that moment, I was just like, okay, we got something here.
He says, Tiny Tony D, where is he? Since this is wrestling related, I'll gladly bring it up. On my other channel, my toy channel, I bought the Tony D'Angelo action figure.
Oh my god!
And I've I've started to do some segments with him, if you will, and it's a hit. Needless to say, it's a hit. But some of these guys have come over from that. Thank you so much, Shane, for hanging out, Rollkeeper as well. You guys have been here from the beginning since the show started, so I appreciate you guys hanging out. Listen, I watch NXT, I put it on, but I don't pay attention, and I really wish I could watch TNA. I just don't have the access. I saw brief about Oba, and I will say the guy's a star in the making. From what I saw of him, I'm like, okay, this is like the next guy that they're gonna bring up.
Oh yeah,
and he'll be a star. I like NXT. Like I like Tony D'Angelo too. Ooh, what you doing? I love that fucking guy. Like he makes me laugh. Best tracksuit in the business. I'll let's just say that right now. My biggest thing was, and because I didn't really pay attention to it this Tuesday, and you seemed to say there was a lot of male matches. The week before, it was nothing but women's matches, and it literally
there was literally one NXT show where it was just women's matches. They had male segments, but it was nothing but women's matches. And this is why they were still on USA at one point. I was just like, what? I was like, what the hell's going on? I wasn't that I was bothered by it, but I was just like, what happened to balance?
All right, well, we just apparently turned Shane back into a mark. He said, you guys are dragging me back into wrestling. I'm here to figure out where I need to start. Monday nights, Netflix.
100%.
That's it. Monday nights, Netflix. Raw is a good program. It's not bad. Is it the best? No, but it's very good. And SmackDown wasn't bad neither. I enjoyed SmackDown too. I'm watching AEW with Malik. I can look you dead in the face right now and tell you, my wife sits on the couch with me. We are trying to give it its fair shake.
The question is, do you manage to stay awake?
Yes, I stayed to the end because I am so baffled and confused that I cannot fall asleep that way because I might not wake up ever again. So I need to be straight when I watch this shit, but cannot fall asleep during it.
I know that I'm not allowed to have an edible while watching AEW because it will put me to sleep. Like,
yes, it's a cure for insomnia. I like
Stephanie Vacour. Okay, well, you're not wrong. Oh yeah, that's right. As far as tomorrow goes, it'll be Stephanie Vacour and Bayley teaming up to take on the likes of Roxanne Perez. And what the hell's the other girl's name?
No idea.
She just came back.
No idea.
She was dating Braun Breaker, and now I can't even think of her name.
Buddy, I have no fucking idea. I will say this. Listen,
Cora Jade.
There
we go. Right. There we go.
All right. I will say this. NXT, for what it is, I would rather watch that than AEW.
Oh,
I'm not a fan of all that bullshit, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick that. Because at least when you watch TNA, when you watch NXT, you at least know that at some point they're going to be on Raw and SmackDown. So you're at least kind of watching the growth. Whereas AEW is just all over the place. Thank you, Rollkeeper. It's just all over the fucking place. We got to make your point.
Also, Cora Jade made an appearance at TNA again last week. She didn't do anything, but obviously they're teasing that her and Masha Slamovich are going to fight for the championship at some point.
Okay. All right. Well, listen.
So the NXT
I also want to point out
TNA crossovers have been pretty solid.
And I was reading something that they said that they pretty much did this deal with TNA so that they can have a wrestling show on certain networks because they're going on Netflix now. So they needed a wrestling show to be on certain networks to keep AEW out of the market or some shit. I don't know how true that is. I read
That's
that
a rumor as usual.
Yeah. But I will say this before we finally move on to this main topic and wrap up. Triple H has gone out of his way to subtly bitch smack AEW. Whether it's signing these people to NXT, like the lady he just brought up, and the other one from Japan, and they did the deal with TNA, and like AEW had a deal with TNA, didn't they? They had a little partnership for a while. And
yeah, but that partnership was one-sided.
Yeah.
You basically had Kenny Omega come in, become, TNA champion, Impact champion, whatever you want to call it at the time.
Yeah.
For no reason, only to lose it to an AEW signed. To lose it to an AEW signed talent. For that AEW signed talent to then lose it to a TNA talent.
It makes no sense. I think TNA is probably happy in their position right now with WWE. They're getting highlighted great on NXT and vice versa. I think it's a great partnership. I think WWE, at some point when New Japan finally breaks away from them, they should try to. But I know you said it, I think, last week, that you don't know who the fuck who's who in Japan anymore because AEW took all the top guys. So
and I think we touched a little base on it that the different promotions in Japan are coming together to work together too.
Yeah,
so that's just something
before
that's going on. I don't know how that's going to work out going forward, but
before we move on to the next topic, I gotta shout this out to my beautiful wife. She's a fan of Masha Slamovich. She was, she obviously works with us at Full Finish Production stuff, and she was with us at House of Glory when she took on Charles Mason. And she says right here in the private chat, she likes her because she can hold her own against a dude and was believable. And I was like, yeah, if you're a good worker, you're a good worker. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. If you're a good worker, you're a good worker. If you're a shit worker, again, male or female, you're a shit worker and it shows. Plain and simple.
I think Charlotte could work with some of the guys if that was to happen. I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it, but I think so too.
I don't want to see it, but
That being said, about shitty workers, we have to take it back a week ago. The other host of this show, I can't believe this came out of his fucking mouth, but he had the absolute the balls to say that Chris Jericho is overrated. And I'm not just talking about his AEW run. He's saying Chris Jericho from top to bottom, WCW, WWE, AEW, there's never been a pay-per-view or a match that he wanted to pay to see. And I believe that was absolute bullshit. He should have wiped his mouth with toilet paper.
So the thing is, and our group message, he retracted his statement by saying that Chris Jericho's never been somebody he was like, oh, I need to buy this paper before that. I'm just like, but there are many solid Jericho matches, and I chose 3.
You chose 3. Yep. So
that I would be like that I would literally be like, I could just go back and just watch that, and it's a good time.
Hell yeah. And I read the list that you sent me, and I agree with every single one of them. By the way, my wife will can you cue them up? She has them all queued up. We obviously can't play them because I don't want to get fucking dude. Yesterday I played like I said, I have the other channel where I go live every Sunday, and I played the Jericho clip. You just made the list when he puts Xavier Woods on the list, and they get upset. The New Day. WWE blocked the goddamn.
I'm not surprised.
I had to trim all that shit out. It's so fucking annoying with them. It's like, I'm not doing it in a negative light, man. I'm using it as a pile. I'm not shitting on it. I'm not doing anything negative with it, but still, God forbid. But listen, Jericho, to me, that run, speaking of, you just made the list. The ability to get shit over, silly shit, was to me, I didn't need to see him in matches. I wanted to see him every Monday on Raw, whether it was a segment or a match. It didn't matter. Jericho, to me, was the epitome of a character evolution over the decades, man. Thanks for the inside baseball. Now my number one source for wrestling news. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that, man. Every Monday, 10:30 a.m., we will be here live on your dial.
So my top 3
Go ahead.
Chris Jericho matches. Chris Jericho taking on Chris Benoit in a 2 out of 3 falls match from SummerSlam 2000.
Boom. Thank you. Goddamn. Great producing. I love it over here. But listen, this is very early 2000 Jericho, so he's
Correct.
very young here. His I think a lot of his matches with Benoit are good, and I noticed you didn't put it on there, but
Mhm.
the ladder match from the Royal Rumble
Oh yeah,
is
that's
one of
excellent
my
match.
favorites. It's one of my
Yes.
favorite matches, man. And which one was it where it was him, Benoit, and Angle, and Angle had both belts?
That was the WrestleMania 2000.
That was a good one too.
So what's funny is obviously I have a wrestling page where I post different matches that took place on whatever day. Today I posted The Rock versus Rikishi from
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think SmackDown on this day from 25 years ago, and which I'm also amazed that my page hasn't been taken down, thankfully.
Dude, I'm shocked because you play a lot of WWE clips, but I guess because it's
But
Instagram.
it's the way you have it chopped up. It's not like
Okay,
everything just
okay.
straight through.
Yeah. But listen, dude, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. It's basically this.
You just made the list!
It's basically that, but you can actually see it. Obviously, I played the video too, and immediately, I literally every point of the video, because I play it when like you get super chats and shit, and
Mhm.
every fucking point of the video. Now I have to trim out just that part. Everything else was fine. If I just play this part,
You just made the list!
nobody don't even blink. But because the stupid video's on it, I got pinged, man. It's annoying.
The
But this match, I
second
remember. This was very good.
The second match I chose was Chris Jericho versus Shelton Benjamin from Taboo Tuesday 2004.
Wow.
That
That's
is basically Shelton Benjamin, and that year 2004, that was his come up year after breaking away from being a part of the world's greatest tag team with
okay.
Charlie Haas. That was a really, really good match.
Yeah. Oh man, look at that.
I believe it's also a well known fact that Jericho never defeated Shelton Benjamin. Also, by the way, it's
Wow.
just one of those weird things that happens in wrestling.
Do you think they'll beat that horse up in AEW?
You
At
never
some
know;
point?
they might.
Yeah.
For a Ring of Honor title match, if he's still Ring of Honor champion, I wouldn't
Yeah.
see why not.
Yeah. Dude, you're making me want to watch all this shit again. When was this? 2004, you said? Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
just know the era of Jericho by his hair.
Yeah.
Like I know what year it is by his hair.
Because even in the third match that I chose, he has the short haircut. So you just and he's wearing trunks by then. So
Yeah.
it's just I
Dude,
picked three different time frames of Jericho.
yeah, and like I said, the guy is one of the kings of evolution. He just evolves with the times. Yeah, is he played out now because he's in his 50s? Yeah, but he's still funny. He's still entertaining. The little promo that I watched with him and Big Bill and the other guy, I chuckled. Like I didn't like roll my eyes because I kind of still like Chris Jericho. I know he's like kind of like, dude, you just hang it up at this point. But I mean, listen, Hulk Hogan went into his fucking right. They all do. You can't fault the fucking guy. He's getting paid still. He feels like he could still go. Let him go. Listen, not everybody is like the Undertaker, where he turns around and goes, "Man, I suck. It's over." Like a lot of guys, they still see this. He looks in the mirror and he still sees this. And if he does, then all the power to him, man. Like, I feel bad, because I don't enjoy them anymore. But again, that's what we have the WWE Network or Peacock. We have this.
Right.
We can go back and watch all this great stuff. And speaking of that, your third match.
And the third match was the title versus mask. Chris
Yeah.
Jericho defending the IC title up against Rey Mysterio from the Bash 2009.
Yeah.
They didn't call it Great American Bash. They just called it the Bash. It was weird.
Now, this was after he rips the mask off, right?
Yes.
Yes, because they had that match. That was what a great finish.
Yes.
When they did that,
He went for the 619 and he just ripped the mask right off his head.
Yeah, and it was
like we've never seen Rey Mysterio's face before.
I know. But man, all three
It's
of these
all a
matches,
big mystery.
all three of these matches were fantastic. I said, and I just named two before: Jericho versus Benoit from Royal Rumble 2001, the ladder match. Maybe it's right here. I got you. Jesus Christ, what the hell just happened? Hold on. Jesus. We messed up. No big deal. There we go. What are you doing? No, you have. You got to stay in, babe. If you can draw, keep coming. Listen, he doesn't really draw much anymore, Shane. I think everybody kind of is over his shtick in AEW. I think his AEW time is coming to an end. I think it's been over for a while, but I think the writing for him might be on the wall. He might probably see like, yeah, it's time for me to pack up and
It's a case of how can I miss you if you don't go away? Jericho's always on TV.
yeah.
It's a good thing he doesn't get injured. But if they did an angle where he just disappeared for a while, let him sit
Mm,
at home, then let him come back and do something, you'd be like, all right, it's something new.
yeah, I agree.
Every time you see him, he's just up, 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 up. And for me, at this point, you got rid of Rampage. It's great that you got the Max deal with
Mhm.
being on Max, but Ring of Honor, some people do watch it, and then some people have told me that have actually gotten the Honor Club subscription. They stopped using it because if I could see this person on AEW TV, why do I need Honor
Why
Club?
do I need ROH? Why, if I'm watching the ROH champion every Wednesday, I don't really need the ROH app. That was a great point. How can we miss you if you don't go away? That's dude. It's one of the things in wrestling where you have to go away sometimes. You have to, because you have to like either reinvent yourself or you have to just make the people miss you. And then when you come back, like, listen, I till this day, I know this is a cold take and I might get a lot of heat for it, but I really don't care. But I used to be one of the people in the conspiracy theory world. I don't believe it now. I'll tell you that. That I thought the Roman Reigns thing was bullshit, the leukemia thing, because he was so like they could not get him over it, no matter what they did. But they figure, let's just take him off TV for a while. Let's just get the sympathy angle. Even it could be, it probably was real. It was real. Like it was real.
Yeah.
But they probably told him to go out there and say it because maybe we can get the sympathy vote for when you come back. I don't know, but like it happens with everybody. You got to go away. You have to go.
Well, as evil as Vince is, maybe that happened. Remember, I did quotation fingers, so I didn't
Yeah.
really, I can't get in trouble for it.
Oh, look at this. My wife sent a beautiful thing here. Use absence to increase respect and honor. 48 laws of power. So it's in the laws of power that in order to you got to be gone for a little bit for people
Yeah.
to watch you. The first paragraph right here. Once you've become well known and admired, use absence to increase respect and honor. The more you are seen and heard from after a certain point, the more you cheapen your brand. People will lose interest and respect for you. But if you make yourself scarce for a while, you're renewed people's respect and appreciation.
Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is gone weeks at a time, maybe even months. When he finally shows back up, everybody's going banana for him.
Hell yeah, that was the best. But the best part of the territories is very true. It's very true that some like you just saw people that you didn't think you'd see, and it was very rare when they'd come back. Um, but like I said, wrestling first off is oversaturated in general. There's wrestling on TV every single day. Like
Yeah.
every single day is wrestling on. So it's like you gotta be entertaining. At the end of the day, you have to be entertaining. And one thing I will say about Chris Jericho, he's always entertaining. Even if you're sick of it, it's still at least something that he's bringing to the table. He's still generating reaction. When people get as quiet as they do with the Death Riders, when they beat up Edge at the end of the night, it was so quiet you could hear a fucking pin drop in that building. That means the gimmick's not over. If that is right there, the barometer. If they're not cheering, if they're not booing, they're not reacting at all, you failed. You failed. So go back to the drawing board. That's why I agree. You got to drop that shit, and Moxley's got to be a solo act because that shit is not working.
So I've kind of calculated that we get at least 13 to 14 hours of wrestling a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because with Raw, you don't know if you're going to get 2.5 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
NXT, you get 2. Dynamite, you get 2. TNA, you get 2.
SmackDown
SmackDown's
three.
3.
SmackDown's 3. Yeah.
SmackDown's 3. And, Collision is 2. So it's a lot of wrestling.
Yeah. Fuck it. Hell yeah, dude.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
wrestling. I'm
Yeah.
not going to even, like, just on TV in general that you can
Yeah.
actually see. It's a lot of wrestling.
Don't count
I still think on Access they have New Japan. So that's an hour. 15 hours of wrestling a week is a lot.
Yeah, and if you're into the indies and shit, you're watching wrestling 20 fucking hours a week.
There's what is it on Triller? I guess now it's called.
Yeah.
You spend either $6.99 or $7.99 to watch all indie shows.
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah, that's fucking.
I'm
Crazy.
like, I was like,
Well, if you get Trilly, you can see a couple False Finish Productions shows that we put up there for House of Glory, a couple other places.
I was just like, it's pretty insane that there's all this wrestling that you can get to stream. If you get the New Japan app, if you feel like being up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, depending upon what you do as far as a place of employment, you could watch that if you got the time. It's a lot.
It's a lot of wrestling, dude. But you don't have to watch all that because that's what Spot Monkey Radio is for. We'll fill you in and we'll get you caught up. Exactly. We'll condense it for you like a nice little cup of sweet condensed milk.
Correct.
Speaking of which, going to wrap this up. Malik, I will allow you this time to, obviously you got some stuff. I Love Wrestling History on the Instagram.
Correct.
Great channel. If you like, listen, if you're on the Instagram and you like wrestling and you like wrestling history, classic matches, classic moments, go on over, head on over to I Love Wrestling History on Instagram. That's Malik's Instagram. I'm sorry. There you'll see some great fucking clips that always, when I'm sitting on the toilet, it always pops me, man.
Also, I know a lot of people go, well, you post a lot of WWE stuff. Listen, WWE stuff is easy to find. I've been also posting TNA stuff from 2005. I've been posting WCW stuff from 1995. So trust me, I have things already in the can made. I'm just waiting for the right day when it comes up to post it.
Hell yeah. So catch that. Obviously, you guys know me. Follow. We have a Spot Monkey Radio Instagram, and we have False Finish Productions Instagram. Please go follow those. I'm trying to get the numbers up on those in terms of followers. If you guys are new here, I don't know how many people here. I have another channel called Legend _Series. It's an action figure channel if you like toys. We have a blast over on there. All the times of membership on there. There's live streams on there every Sunday. I just decided, me and my wife decided that we might start doing Wednesday nights too. So we'll see how that all goes. But please go follow that, guys. We'll be back every Monday, 10:30 a.m. right here on False Finish. On Thursdays, I will be dropping Tony's takes. This week will be, we kind of talked about it today, CM Punk's run, and I will just go. I'm going to start doing something a little different on there too, as well as just I have one take that I want to talk about, and I'm going to look at some of like the Wrestling Observer news and shit like that. What's up? Okay, thank you, baby. And then other than that, man, like I said, just catch Spot Monkey Radio every Monday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to come. I'm going to be very consistent with this. Last week I didn't was on the show, but I think going forward, I think it just makes more sense for me to be on here and do this as the host. I enjoyed it. I had fun, buddy. I love talking wrestling with you every chance I get, man. So I appreciate and I thank you for being a part of this show, buddy. And actually,
definitely fun times. I'm glad that you guys that are in the comments in the chat continue giving your takes, because sometimes even if I don't agree with it, you may not agree with me. It'd be very interesting because it'll start making you think like,
That's the beautiful thing about the chat and basically the open forum here. You can leave your opinion, and if we disagree, we disagree. If we agree, we agree. But at the same time, it's creating discussion, it's creating conversation, and that's what this is all about, man. I appreciate that. Bring the passion, guys. Yes. Listen, we've both been involved in the wrestling business for a very long time, both as workers and as other roles in the game. So we have a lot of knowledge between the two of us, and I want this to be a source where you can come to hear crazy takes, some spot on takes, some ice cold takes, but whatever it is, we want to be able to entertain you guys. So that is Malik. I am Tony. This is Spot Monkey Radio for Monday, January 26th. For my beautiful wife, the producer, Dominique. 27th. I'm sorry. I said 26th. It was yesterday. The 27th. This has been Spot Monkey Radio. Until next Monday, man. Let's keep some kayfabe, boys. Take it easy.